Hello, everyone. Welcome to a little bit of woo woo. And just like any good woo woo show, I have a black cat and she's in the video. You can see her. Hello, itty bitty. Anyway, welcome. Wow, it's been a wild week, hasn't it? It's little feel like I'm on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride right now. For those of you who don't know, that is a ride at Disneyland, and you should definitely go there next time you go to Disneyland. I'm recording this on July 18th at 8 a.m. Pacific. So wild stuff happening. Stuff you've been watching in the stock market. It's been crazy, particularly in the crypto market. You don't need a psychic to tell you that. You can just look at the numbers. But let's talk about why that might be. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, what happened on Saturday, the RNC convention is going on. A lot of discussion of the little mutiny that's going on in the Democratic Party. All of these things affect the sentiment, which affects prices of the stocks and bonds, because one president might do one thing and one president might do another, even though neither of these people really are going to be doing much until after the election. And if we get a new president, nothing's going to happen until February. So just keep in mind that some of this is not based on anything resembling facts and real data and real information. Don't let yourself get caught up into it either, because that's a great way to lose a lot of money in a very expensive game in the stock market. And for most people, the economy is the stock market. So the question I get a lot is, when are the wheels going to fall off the car with the economy? Because I've been saying that the economy is in a lot more trouble than the news is letting on. And you don't need me to tell you that. Drive down your main street. Are there any empty storefronts in places where there never used to be? Are there real estate agents going out of business? How much is a burger in your town? I'm just saying, you don't need me to tell you things are getting a little rough out there. However, the media is making it sound like something else is going on because, there's a lot of clickbait, and also there is a narrative going on. Neither political party wants people to think that we're in recession yet, even though I believe there will be a recession callback dated to last year, actually. Neither party wants this to be widely publicized or to be seen as happening, because a lot of elections are happening. It's not just the president. We've got governors, we've got the Senate and the House, things like that. No side wants to be pinned with this ugly situation that's kind of going to unfold. So when are the wheels going to fall off the car? It is a slow moving train. When there is a challenge within the economy, people start spending less, then employers start letting go of staff, and then those people aren't buying things in the economy, and it does kind of get worse and worse and worse. It's been happening depending on where you are in your personal life. Your personal economy may have already happened a year ago. It's rough out there right now, and trying to find and replace a job, particularly if you were in tech, it can be tough. I will say I do see the unemployment numbers. The guys were showing me getting up to like 12%. I don't know if that's what will be widely reported, but that does mean that around 90% of you guys who have jobs right now are still going to have them. So personally, it's time for you to start making decisions in a household level, how you want to spend your money, how you want to use your resources, if you want to downsize, if you want to consolidate. Intuitively, I have seen, and this is a little ways off, but I am seeing a lot of grandmas, grandpas, dads, moms, and dads moving in with their kids because they didn't save enough for their retirement. I don't see as much the other way around. We're seeing, kids moving in with parents moving in with kids. I do see several generations under one roof, which is the way it used to be, right? But houses have gotten so big now. You can do that without killing each other like you did before. There's more room. You are going to be seeing several generations like that, and it won't necessarily be because we really want to live with grandma. It's because we kind of have to. So lots of big companies in trouble. I do see this long, drawn out, high interest rates situation and the credit crunch that's going to inevitably come from this. We're already seeing it happen, but I think it's going to play out a lot more next year, where it's going to be a little bit harder to get credit. If any of you guys have tried to buy a car, the interest rate on a car is like insane, like what you used to pay on a credit card to buy a car. That's going to change. I do think there will be a Powell pivot in September. Intuitively, I was seeing that. I will say that the betting market has it at 100% now that there will be at least one rate cut in September. That tells me that somebody has got some leaked information. I think that happens a lot more than we realize, because you never see 100%. I would also say that there is a non-zero chance that it will be the end of this month. I do think that Powell did not want to affect the election. He is a Republican, but I think he feels like he has to at this point. And also, he doesn't want to be seen as being partisan. I've gotten that impression when I've tuned in him before. I will say, as a politician, I know he gets bagged on a lot because of some of these decisions, and I didn't agree with a lot of them either. But from a psychic perspective, when you tune into him, his energy is not as bad as most politicians. And if you guys tune into a politician, you know, it doesn't matter which side they're on. Usually you feel like you need to take a shower afterward. I'm just saying, not as much with him. Not as much. Okay. So I do see a bubble in the stock market. I mean, from a macroeconomic perspective, I am not a macroeconomics person. I am a student of it, so I know a lot about it. But if you need a stockbroker, if you need some help with investments, call somebody who does that for a living. A psychic is not really the best person to get this information from, so it is entertainment purposes only. Having said that, I will tell you what I'm seeing. There is a big correction coming. I do feel like at some point the correction will start to pick up so much steam they may even close down the stock market for a time being. They've done this before, and this happens. Sometimes trading just happens on one stock. They stop it just because the momentum has gotten too crazy. I do see that that's coming. I would say that I feel like that probably is going to happen before the end of the summer, at least once. I see a lot of it being talked in the news, and interestingly enough, I see it taking attention off of something else that's going on in the world. We're going to be seeing more of these big name marquee companies in trouble. Have you been to Starbucks lately and seen that there was no line when there usually is a line? Just saying. You're going to have to look at more anecdotal situations to see what's really going on, because the media is these are advertisers that are trying to spend money on campaigns right now. They don't really want to be blasting the news saying that the local municipalities aren't doing a good job, when those same people will be deciding if they want to use that media outlet to use their campaign advertising money. So just saying, there's a lot of that being influenced. I'm not saying that people are doing something intentionally evil. They might be, but I'm not going to say that, and I'm not really seeing it that way. I do see it is about money, and you just don't want to be running an ad saying that soda causes diabetes when your biggest advertiser is Coca-Cola. I'm just giving that as an example. Please don't sue me. So the housing market in a lot of places has already cratered. Ask any real estate agent what they were doing this summer. It probably had a lot to do with video games and watching Bridgerton. I don't hear it being a lot of let's show a lot of houses and get a lot of money. But some areas, obviously, that is not the case. So you're going to have to do more research than you had to do before, and be more sensible within your decisions. The interest rates falling doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to refi right away. You still have to have equity in your house in order to do that. I do see some pretty steep rate cuts coming. I feel like it's going to be like 200 basis points, possibly before the end of the year. Maybe they'll do it slowly, but that's not usually how they do it. So when the news is saying, oh, they're going to do 25 basis points at a time, I don't really think that's what's going to happen. And historically, that's not really how it has played out. So just, keep that in mind if you're buying a house, if you really want to catch a falling knife. I have said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you've got a position in the stock market that's a little risky, you need to babysit that sucker and check it 18 times a day. I stand by that assessment that we are going to be seeing a major correction in the stock market. Crypto, people ask me about crypto. Crypto is very hard for me to tune into for some reason. Maybe if somebody in the comments could say how they're doing it, I'm just not. It's a moving target. It's like trying to tap into a flea. I'm having a little trouble with that one, but maybe since it's a relatively new thing later on, I will have a better sense of it. I will say that economically speaking, I am seeing the stock market sort of healing is what they're being shown is healing. Some of this has kind of been out of control. I think when it does have a more serious correction, which I feel like is going to be the end of the year, more like next year, I feel like it's staying pretty low for a while. I don't see a lot of people making a lot of money in it for a period of time. Having said that, day traders have figured out ways to do this. So if you want to learn how to do that, don't ask me. That is not my area of expertise, but there's certainly places you can learn how to do day trading. What else do I want to talk about? There is going to be some serious opportunities for some of you. I would say, you're going to need to learn to be more flexible within this economy. Keep in mind that we do have a recession every 5 to 7 years. That's just part of the economic cycle. And we haven't had one in about 15 years, unless you want to count the one in 2019 that historically, I don't know if we're going to call that a recession later on, 20 years from now when somebody's writing a history book. But just pay attention to these kind of things and start to look at ways that you can create multiple streams of revenue. It is always a good idea to have multiple streams of revenue within your household. Maybe start small. All of you guys watching have some expertise that you are sitting on, that you're thinking, wonder if I could do a consulting business telling people how to do this. Wonder if I could do this for businesses that would normally hire a full-time employee. Maybe I can just do it 5 hours a week for them. Play around with this, because each one of you guys watch. I know I'm psychic. I know each one of you guys is sitting on something. Maybe you're sitting on two things. I wonder if I should be doing that. I wonder if I should start my LLC and put that together. Yes, the answer is yes. You should do that. I'm saying you should do that, because there is going to be some challenging times. There's going to be lots of money to be made from some people and lots to be lost by others. You want to be on the winning side. I will say that during the 2020, 2023 crisis, the businesses that did well were the ones that were flexible. The businesses that did well were the ones that shifted their menus, that didn't ignore what was coming, and played around in the world of, let's be flexible. How can we make this more cost effective? How can you make your products in a way that make it more affordable to the average person? Because the average person still wants to buy. They may not have as much coin as they used to because they didn't take my advice and start little side hustles, or lots of little side hustles. I'm just saying, I see a lot of creativity happening, and a lot of creativity happening from necessity, because you don't want to live this way anymore. You don't want to be in struggle anymore. And now you're saying, well, I want my kids to be able to go to college. I'm not sure if it's as good of a deal as it used to be. How can I make this happen? How can I put these ideas that I've been sitting on into play? What can I do? Having said that, I did write a book on the subject called The High Income Healer. You can buy it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested. You can also like and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate that. That doesn't cost you anything. And trust me, you're not getting a lot of spam on this one, because anytime I talk about politics, the video itself gets kneecapped and you never see it. So just play the game. I want you to know also, if you're one of those people that's freaking out about politics right now and you're concerned about what's happening, it is a big game. If you can sit back and just watch it in that perspective, do your part, vote. I mean, that's as much as we can do. If you want to throw money in a hat, fine. I'm not going to, because as soon as you do, trust me, they hound you. Watch what's happening, watch the games playing, because to some extent when it comes to politics, it's not that they're playing a game, it's that we're kind of being played. I noticed this a lot with the election 8 years ago, and especially last year. A lot of what was going on in the media wasn't necessarily designed to get me to vote for one person or another. It was designed to get me not to vote at all. So there's a principle in marketing: the confused buyer does not buy. Some of the tactics they're using is just trying to confuse the base so that they don't go to the polls and vote, because they're not sure. Maybe this person does have some terrible thing in the basement of a pizza place. I'm just saying. That's why I would encourage you not to watch as much media. We don't, a lot of the first bits of information comes through YouTube. I do see eventually there will be a lot more censoring of this type of platform. There already is. For those of you who don't know, channels that do economic information, particularly ones that go against the assumed narrative, are pretty likely to get kneecapped at some point. A lot of them just get taken off. People get unsubscribed. We were actually watching a live stream once for a guy, Rebel Capitalist, and he was talking about the economy or some government thing that was going on, and I think it was Norway, and it just turned off. They just turned it off. So be aware that happens, and if it's happening on YouTube, trust me, it is absolutely happening on mainstream media, who has a lot shorter times for them to talk about things. So price of gas, it's going to be up and down. I think it's going to be down more. You will have opportunities to travel at discounts a little bit later. I think you can probably do that now if you want to. But I would encourage you as people to try to use your intuition, turn your spidey sense on, get your BS meter out, and not allow yourself to be caught up in one narrative or another. I will say that a lot of times especially when one particular idea is being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, it usually just does not ring true. It does start to feel a bit like propaganda. So look on the fringes of bits of information, and try not to get too caught up in anger. It's easy to get caught up in anger. We're all there, and some of our fuses are a little short right now. Try to work on having love for your neighbors and your friends and family, and work on things that you have in common. You'd be surprised when you really sit down and chat with people how much in common even people from very different political perspectives have. Just know that you're loved, that it's time for you to start looking for a side hustle, something that would be fun, something your soul wants to do. And also, last thing I will say, the polls during a convention, a political convention, always show that the convention, so right now it's the Republicans, the polls are going to show that the Republicans are ahead. When the Democratic convention happens, the polls are going to show that the Democrats are ahead. That always happens. That always happens. And if it ever doesn't happen, the wheels really have fallen off the car of that particular political party. But that is always how it's happened. So if you're freaking out, I wouldn't bet money on either party at this point. Just saying. There's a lot of strife within these parties. It's interesting how the Republicans have come together, coalesced, and the Democrats have taken the opposite perspective. And it's sort of interesting to watch the little mutiny. Wow, quite interesting. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have wonderful lives, and I hope you see this and are thinking everything's really not that bad, because it's really not, right? Go outside, play with your cats, say hi to Itty Bitty back here, and have a super amazing weekend. And I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.